Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.
I run it.
Good day, ladies and gents. I'm Emilio A. Colon, and welcome to the EAC Show, coming to you from sunny South Florida. I am joined by Marcus Mack on episode 34 of the EAC Show. We are so excited. We have a special guest coming on today to be able to give us some info on the second-round pick of the New England Patriots, Kyle Duggar. The voice of the Lenoir-Rhyne University Bears is coming on. Julius JuJu Phillips. He's going to join us, and we're going to do a little question and answer session between Marcus Mack and myself. Definitely looking forward to that, Marcus.
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's we're going to be speaking about the underdog triumph. You know, the big pick for the New England Patriots. I think that was really big. I can't wait to get to that.
I mean, for a lot of people, and the feedback that I'm getting is more like everybody loves this kid because he's a relatable story. Everybody can relate to being that player that everybody gets overlooked and, you know, no one's really coming out to see you. But give it up to Bill Belichick, the GOAT, Mr. Six Rings, Mr. I'm on to Cincinnati, to find a diamond in the rough, to find a needle in the haystack in Hickory, North Carolina. And we're going to get into that later on in the show because you didn't even know where that was, right, Marcus Mack?
Crazy, which is why him being an underdog is so special, because it's like, you know, I think he's like one of 9 to ever even make it to the draft, let alone I think he's the only one to ever actually get picked in the draft from that school. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, shout out to them. We're going to have him on the show shortly. You know, a lot of stuff going on here down in sunny South Florida. Just so happens today that they started to open up a few things. We're happy. We got out. We moved a little bit. The parks are actually open. So parks and recreation stuff is actually open, and leave it up to the golfers to literally go out there and take every tee time available right now. It's being reported by the Palm Beach Post. I know you saw it, Marcus Mack, that golfers are all over the place on golf courses. Some of them are wearing gloves. They're wearing masks. They're disinfecting everything, and they're getting out there and they're taking those swings, and they're, you know, fouring it all, bogeying it all. They're doing everything out there right now.
yeah, they definitely they're risking it all. They said open back up the golf courses. They risking it all. We're going. Tee up, fellas. Tee up.
It's a good thing because you're getting people out there. I mean, golf and tennis are 2 sports that you can play with distance. So I understand if it really is open, because you don't really got to be so close to the people. I saw the tennis courts was open. I saw a few older ladies this morning getting it in at the tennis courts while I was driving. So it's good that these stuff are slowly but surely starting to get back. It's still another transition to try to figure out how can we get back the other sports as well, the organized sports for the kids, the basketball, you know, the soccer, the flag football, lacrosse. How can we get these games starting to really, really get going so people can really get back to some type of normalcy?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know something's gonna shake soon, because Governor DeSantis is not he's not going for it. In another month or two, I don't think it's gonna prolong for too much longer.
I think more than anything else, I think he gets stir crazy. I think he's a fan of everything that goes on in his great state. That he's like, I want basketball, I want WWE, I want UFC, I want football, I want this, I want that. I think he's so stir crazy about that stuff. And that's why he's so lean on it, because he's like, hey, man, forget what everybody else says. Sports are essential businesses in this state, so they can literally start whenever they want.
Yeah, well, you know, I can't wait to see what comes of it. Me personally, I'll be inside. I'll definitely be inside. I'm gonna.
You're not going out there early?
No, I passed by I was going to Publix to pick up some stuff, and I passed by. I seen the park. I seen people in the park. I said, what are they doing out there? Like, what's happening? They're out there risking it all right now. But obviously, I didn't know until, you know, I got back in the house, and then I seen the headlines. I'm like, wow, you know, they opened back up the parks. When was that official? Anyways, was that
today? Today was the first day. Today was the first day. So everybody was out there trying to take advantage. I mean, people were listening. They were, you know, keeping their distance. You know, making sure everybody had, you know, their space or whatever, they're standing there. But they were out there, and it was good to see, you know, kids running around and people trying to get it in or whatever way. I mean, they were using the fields more than anything else.
Yeah, you know, everybody just really eager to get back to regular life, because, you know, the whole, hey, yo, you got to stay in the house. it's kind of burning people alive, even though it's for your own safety. It's burning people alive.
I mean, shout out to, I saw an article, Marcus Mack, shout out to Commissioner Roger Goodell, who has agreed to literally completely take no salary at all in the NFL. He's the commissioner of the NFL. He's agreed to not take $1 until this coronavirus stuff is, pretty much done and back to normal. So shout out to him.
Does that mean that he'll be taking the money that is generated and donating it? Or he's gonna?
Oh, no. He makes way too much money. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken,
the salary that he's supposed to get, is he gonna take that and donate it? He's saying
no. Eventually, what he's gonna take a salary eventually, and he's gonna keep his salary. But the NFL has already I think they've already put up together like $100 million in COVID-19 funding. They've raised a lot of money for the coronavirus. So Roger Goodell is just basically saying, as of right now, until this is settled, I don't want $1. He's basically working for free in a sense. You know what I mean? He's done this once before, and then he ended up getting back paid on it. So this is nothing new to him. He's okay with it. And if I'm not mistaken, Roger Goodell makes $40 million a year.
Sounds presidential.
Because he exactly is. He is the commissioner of the highest league in the country. And in all actuality, there's a little bit of a hashtag my commissioner going around, because people are kind of proud of how he put the draft together and how it felt organic with some of the stuff he was doing. If you watch the draft, he got to a point where he was just sitting in his chair, slouching, reading the picks off his hands, eating M&Ms. Like, you know what I'm saying? It made him feel like a regular person, and people really enjoyed that commissioner. So the hashtag my commissioner started.
Yeah. I actually missed that. I wish you would have said that.
I'm looking forward. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to this interview with Julius, JuJu Phillips. And shout out to the guy who helped put this all together. I really do appreciate it. Rick Mayberry, really do appreciate you putting this together for the show. There was a lot of hard work. We tried to get Kyle on, and maybe that might happen in the future, but we settled for JuJu and JuJu. We really do appreciate this guy coming on and being able to talk to us on the show.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to hear what he has to say, and maybe we might get Kyle on, because
I hope
it's a
big fan.
Big deal, for that pick. It's really a big deal. Hopefully we will get him on. I know he's really busy with him taking this position over here in the New England Patriots, but let's see what happens. I can't wait to hear JuJu.
Leave it up to Bill Belichick to do something. He's the only one that can do something like this, Marcus Mack, and no one say anything. No one will criticize it. No one will be like, he's crazy. What is he doing? No one will say.
They're gonna say he found a diamond in the rough. That's what they're gonna say.
He's the GOAT. No one questions what the GOAT does.
Yeah, they're gonna say he found a needle in a haystack. That's what they're gonna say.
The GOAT could sit there and be like, that goat fetch soup. And you'd be like, what? The goat fetch soup? You'd be like, yeah, that goat could fetch me soup. Okay, he said it. The goat fetch soup. It's true.
And I can't wait to see what he does in this next season, man, because, it'll really prove that that Bill Belichick has the eye, And, I tried to do some back research on Kyle Duggar, and you can't really see much of his stats because the Division II schools, they don't really keep track of too much. So it's like, what happened? Like, what happened? Did Bill Belichick go down?
Absolutely. I mean, save that all for JuJu. JuJu will fill us in because nobody knows him better than him. So save all that for JuJu. So we're gonna get to this part of the show. It's brought to you by ElCubanoSandwichShop.com. They're our sponsor. Use the promo code EAC whenever ordering or picking up, deliveries or online pickups. Enjoy a cafe con leche or a natural pre-workout shot of that Cuban coffee to start your day. The daily lunch specials and their steak sandwich is next level. Once again, use the promo code EAC. That's ElCubanoSandwichShop.com or 954-906-5110. Remember, use the promo code EAC, and that's El Cubano Sandwich Shop in Coral Springs. Marcus Mack, right after this, we're going to, pretty much finish this. We're going to get into our interview with Julius JuJu Phillips about Kyle Duggar. So looking forward to it, all right?
Get him on the line.
Well, guys, we're here on the EAC Show. We are proudly joined by the voice of the Lenore Ryan Football Bears, Julius JuJu Phillips, is joining the EAC Show. Marcus Mack. JuJu, we appreciate you coming on to the show and spending some time with us to be able to talk about second-round pick, needle-in-the-haystack player, Kyle Duggar.
Guys, it's a pleasure to join you, talk Lenore Ryan football. It's one of the things I love to do, and anytime we can promote what Lenore Ryan has been doing, they've been doing some special things, and Kyle has certainly been part of that the last few years. Anytime is a great time to talk Lenore Ryan football.
Now, JuJu, give us a little bit of background about yourself. Let the fans know, the viewers know. Basically, I know that you're the voice of the team, but just give them a little bit of background about who you are.
Well, I'm a Lenore Ryan graduate. I came from Pennsylvania. I'm a big Steelers fan, born and bred in Pittsburgh. Came down to Hickory, North Carolina to go to school, play football, and I just happened to stay and have been broadcasting off and on for about the last 40 years, doing Lenore Ryan games, first as a player, and then I did some stuff as a student assistant. I was on the sidelines. I've done color analyst, and for the last 15 or 16 years, I've been doing play-by-play. So it's been almost something I've really loved to do. Lenore Ryan's a great place. Hickory, North Carolina is a great place. It's been a labor of love, really, for the last few years.
I know Marcus Mack had a question for you
Yeah,
about that. So
I actually wanted to ask about that. Because I didn't know anything about Hickory, North Carolina until we started looking into this story, and I'm like, yo, what goes on in Hickory, North Carolina?
Well, if those that know their history in Western North Carolina, believe it or not, Hickory used to be the furniture capital of the United States back in the 60s and 70s. They're known. Hickory was put on the map because it's right at the foothills of the mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, and they made a lot of furniture. There were more furniture plants per capita than any other place in the United States. As it since has gone down a little bit. Lenore Ryan has been around for 100 years, but if anybody ever heard of Hickory, North Carolina, the first first thing that popped into their mind, people used to travel through and buy furniture, and it was a place that everybody looked as a destination for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And without question, listen, I can Wikipedia the stuff about Lenore Ryan football, but I don't want to Wikipedia the stuff about Lenore Ryan football. I want to hear it from the mouth, from the person that's lived it, breathed it, and still to this day distributed it to the fans that are willing to listen. Because I know this weekend has been a whirlwind for you, because obviously this is probably the biggest name to ever get drafted out of Lenore Ryan without question. So tell me a little bit about the background about Lenore Ryan football, and then we'll get into Kyle.
Well, Lenore Ryan has been around 100 years. They just celebrated their 100th year of football. They were a small college powerhouse in the 50s and 60s and all the way up until about the mid-70s. And then there was a drop-off, and they were small school NAIA. They went Division II in the mid-1990s. They went out without a winning season from 1994 to 2010, so 16 years.
Rough.
Yeah, very rough. They only had, I believe, this decade, since 2010, the greatest decade in LR history. They made the Division II playoffs 5 times. They won 6 conference championships. They went all the way to the Division II national championship game. And why it's so unusual for that, Lenore Ryan's one of the smallest schools in Division II football that has been on the center stage, have been kind of a national power. They won, again, more games than they ever have in their decade. They made the playoffs. They probably had their best decade of football in their 100-year history. They won a national championship back in 1960, but in the last 10 years, really football it's been a powerhouse at the Division II level.
Now, just let the viewers and the fans know that are listening to the YouTube, and for those that are checking in right now, we're on with Julius JuJu Phillips, Lenore Ryan Football Bears, voice of the football program. Just let the fans know, what kind of environment happens at those games, at those Division II games? Is it a packed house? Do the students support them? Like, what kind of environment is that, those football games?
When you look at Division II football, it ranges. Lenore Ryan, when you look at the whole conference that they're in a conference with 8 other schools. Lenore Ryan has won the attendance record for the last 16 years in their own conference. Great small college atmosphere. The football field is, they call it between the bricks. It sets about 8 feet down from ground level, so fans are up real close. and they get crowds anywhere from 5, and this year they had a crowd of 10,000 people. So with the winning comes the support. They've always had support, but they have not had the crowds that they've had in the last, say, 10 years when football has been really king here in Western North Carolina. But for small colleges, Lenoir-Rhyne, at places we go, they usually average about 2,500 fans, 3,000 fans. Lenoir-Rhyne usually doubles that, and that shows the support. That shows support not only from the town but from the school.
Now, explain to the fans and the viewers, what is the buzz? What has the atmosphere been like since this, since Kyle being drafted 2nd overall by the New England Patriots?
Well, obviously school's not in right now, but online and on the social media, LR has really picked up the pace there. Kyle Duggar has put Lenoir-Rhyne football back on the map, and probably on the map for the first time ever on a national scale. It has been very exciting, because, he's the first guy to get drafted in the 2nd round. He's the highest player ever to get drafted in Lenoir-Rhyne history. There's only been 8 other guys and before Kyle came along to ever get drafted, going all the way back to the late 50s. But when you look at what he has done, he has been an All-American. He got an invite to the wonderful Senior Bowl, first player ever to get an invite to the Senior Bowl. He got invited to the Combine, first ever player to do that. He put himself on the map as well and gave a lot of publicity to Lenoir-Rhyne. But there has certainly been a lot of buzz. And for him to get picked, I don't think anybody suspected that he would get picked as high as he did. I think everybody I talked to, including some scouts and the things you see online from all these NFL draft experts, they were looking somewhere maybe mid to late 2nd round at the earliest, but more likely somewhere in the 3rd round. Because because after the Senior Bowl, he had a wonderful Senior Bowl, his stock dropped a little bit. I don't think he got a chance to work out for some of these teams. A lot of people thought, small school, do we want to take a chance on that? So we were expecting him to get into the 3rd round. And when I came back, we were doing a draft special show, that particular night from 6 until 6:30. When I got home and turned on ESPN that night, it wasn't 5 or 10 minutes into the coverage, and here comes Kyle's names being announced. It was over.
Got blown up. Blown up. Party all the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I know Marcus Mack had another question for you.
Yeah, because, after I looked into Kyle Duggar, and I couldn't really find any stats about him, but from everything that I've heard about him, he pretty much dominated Division II. So, what do you think is something that he'll be facing going into the league? Like, obviously, you've seen what this kid is capable of. Like, he's obviously ready if New England Patriots and Bill Belichick came looking for him. What do you think he's facing going into the league?
Well, he was the Patriots traded out of the 1st round and swapped with, I think, San Diego and got the 6th pick in the 2nd round. And what makes it interesting is the fact that he's probably, the Patriots think of him as a 1st-round talent. The other thing I thought maybe his stock would drop a little bit, he didn't play the final 7 games of the season. He had an injured finger, and he only played the first 7. LR played. They made it all the way to the quarterfinals of the Division II playoffs. They played 14 games. He missed the final 7 games. No tape on him, the final 7 games. He actually had a better year last year. He was an All-American last year, wonderful punt returner. He had 6 punts returned for touchdowns in his career and had 4 others called back that he scored on due to penalty. He is a game breaker when it comes to punt returning. He is wonderful on the special teams. He is a guy that he came to Lenoir-Rhyne, believe it or not, we were running a wishbone at the time. He came as a wingback little slot wide receiver. He's 5'11", 170 pounds. Today he's 6'1.5", 220 pounds. So he shot up. He was only recruited by 1 or 2 schools. LR was the only school to offer him. And in high school, he was 5'6" at about 160 pounds. So he had a growth spurt, one in high school and another at Lenoir-Rhyne. And to be 6'1.5", 217 pounds, he was a man among boys at the Division II level for sure.
For all you guys that are listening or viewing on YouTube, once again, we're with the voice of the Lenoir-Rhyne Bears, football. JuJu Phillips, he's here with us on the EAC Show. JuJu, I have a question from a friend of the show up in New England, the Mike Pedroli Show. They want to know, they're a little bit skeptical about New England spending a second-round pick on this type of player. Please let them know and reassure them that Bill Belichick knows what he's doing and he sees that this guy is special.
I've seen stuff that Bill Belichick has talked about. I think I saw something on the NFL Network recently that he was having an interview with Jimmy Johnson. And they were talking about what stands out when they draft players, besides their measurables that we always hear about. And they said, first and foremost, we want a guy that's intelligent. Well, I can tell you Kyle is very intelligent. He's an engineering major, one of the smartest football players. He's instinctive, but he's very smart out on the field. You know, another thing that he adjusted to, Lenore Ryan changed coaches in his 6 years that he was here. They had 5 different defensive coordinators. So he's had to work with 5 different systems. And in the last 2 years, when we really won, we only lost 4 games in the last 2 years, 3 games actually. He's had 2 different defensive coordinators that have changed things around a little bit. So he has been the quarterback on defense, probably one of the smartest guys, if not the smartest guy on the football team. I think that says a lot for what Coach Belichick saw in him to draft him, because he's got all the other measurables, as I said, talent-wise and his physical skills. But between the years, I think he can recognize defenses, and he is a kind of guy that is willing to learn, and he is a guy that's very intelligent.
I'm glad. I'm happy.
Is it safe to say, through all of these different adversities that he's went through in the past 2 years, like what you said, that he's somewhat like a very versatile player? Yeah,
that's probably his calling card. If he wanted to play defensive end, rush defensive end, they'd have put him there. They moved him up. He could play, basically, he can play inside linebacker like a strong safety, move him up in the box. They used to call him back in my day the rover position. He could probably play that. He can play a strong safety. He can go out in the slot and cover a tight end who's out, flanked out a little bit, probably cover a slot receiver. I don't know if he's a press corner, but he can play a bunch of different positions. You know, New England, I think, employs at times 3 different safeties. They got a couple guys now in their 30s that Kyle Duggar can slide in when they want to go to that 3 safety spot. He could probably go in there and fit. So he's very versatile. He's a hybrid type player. He can come up and play along the line of scrimmage, and he'll strike you big enough, fast enough to cover tight ends, running backs out of the backfield, probably slot receivers as well. So if you're looking for somebody that's a hybrid and it has all these tools that he can do many different things, not counting on the special teams, think he's a 4-down player. He can probably play on the kickoff return, on the punt return, on the punt team. He can do a lot of different things.
I think he's noted to have ran back, I think, like 6 punt returns in his past season.
This past season, he ran back 3 or 4 this past season. 3, I believe. Okay. 2 last year, and then 1 the year before. But he's had 4 others called back due to penalties. I mean,
so listen, I'm gonna be honest with both of you guys right now. If I end up seeing Kyle Duggar play both sides of the ball, I'm getting a Kyle Duggar jersey right away.
I wouldn't be surprised. They lined him up a few times at running back and at wide receiver. The LR coaches talked about doing that, but they were afraid that the defensive coaches would quit or get upset with the head coach. But he's versatile enough. He played wide receiver and running back in high school when he was 5'11", 170 pounds. So at 6'1", 217, he's got great hands. He can field punts. The way that New England employs guys in different positions, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if you see him on offense on a couple of special plays.
Absolutely, without question. And listen, we're Kyle Duggar fans, right, Marcus Mack? We're rooting for him.
We're rooting for Kyle because he's an underdog. Just the whole Lenore Ryan's, like we was really happy to hear about the story. I was ecstatic when he told me he was going to be on the show.
I was trying to explain it to him, JuJu, to get him to understand it. This is more than a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, maybe for the average fan, it is. But for anybody that followed and scouted, and Kyle told me earlier this week that he had talked with New England. He didn't expect, I don't think, to get drafted in the second round. But he had been talking with Bill Belichick going all the way back to March and Bill's son. And Bill's son, I think Coach Belichick sent his son to Lenoir-Rhyne during the season to do some scouting. So they did their homework, and if you're going to trust somebody, you trust your son to come back with words that you want to hear. And I think probably New England, it says a lot, again, guys, that they traded out of the first round to go up and get Kyle Duggar early in the second round. And that says a lot because there were other guys on the board from LSU and other big schools, and they picked him over those guys.
He was out for some time. Now, mind you, I told you I did try to get a little research on him. He was out for some time due to an injury. How is he now? Like, is he feeling better? Or I think it was like a hand injury.
He had a torn tendon in his finger, in his ring finger, I believe, on his left hand.
Okay, right.
And he hurt it late in the season. I want to say the next to the last, maybe the third to the last game. He missed the final 7 games of the season. He was in shape enough to play, but I think once the team found out, they were hoping to get him back. But once the Senior Bowl invite came and the scouting combine was calling, I don't know if he wanted to risk it. Lenoir-Rhyne went a long way without him, but he's perfectly healthy. He had a great Senior Bowl practice the week and in the game. I think he led the team in tackles. So I think he's over any kind of problems with his finger. He had a knee surgery 4 or 5 years ago. He was redshirted, and then he came back, and the next year after his redshirt, he blew his knee out. But I think he's totally healthy from that. I've seen him run a 4.440 before. He's at 4.49 right now. He said he could get under 4.4. He didn't run too well, a 40-yard dash at the combine, but he hoped that he would have a chance to do that at his pro day. But I think he's the kind of guy, he hasn't hit his ceiling yet. Maybe physically he has, but, filling out, I'm sure he can add another 10 or 15 pounds. But when you get him into the pro system and the nutrition and all of that and learning under among the best defensive coaches ever in Bill Belichick, I think you're going to see he has not touched his ceiling yet, and the best football is ahead for Kyle Duggar, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Once again, for you guys, we're joined by Julius JuJu Phillips, Lenoir-Rhyne football voice, talking about New England Patriots second-round pick, Kyle Duggar. Hey, listen, I'm all down for it. JuJu, I have your contact information. You let Marcus Mack and myself know when they're going to do a Kyle Duggar retirement jersey over at Lenoir-Rhyne, because I know it's going to be a big deal.
I will do that and stay in touch with you. And if anything else breaks and some other things are happening, I will certainly get in touch with you guys. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, man. JuJu, we really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Go Bears and Patriots.
Marcus Mack, what a great interview. We really do appreciate, JuJu coming on and giving us some info basically about Kyle Duggar. I mean, it was great. I really don't know what to say. I'm extremely thankful. He spent a lot of time with us, gave us a lot of input, a lot of knowledge. What stood out for you in that interview? What did you learn about Kyle?
What I learned was that he was already being watched. And he's definitely a versatile player. He has history with moving around different positions. And I believe we spoke about this already, that in those Division II teams, that they play a bunch of different positions.
Right. Of course, because they have to be versatile because of how many players they have on the roster. But what I found really intriguing, what JuJu let us know, was that Bill Belichick's son was actually going to watch some of his games previously.
Yeah.
So he had already been scouted by the Patriots beforehand, before the Senior Bowl, before the Combine.
Yeah, that was really dope. Yeah, and it makes you really think about Bill Belichick, like, this guy.
He's sending people to Division II?
Yeah. He's out there. I wouldn't be surprised if he has people at high school games. Like, yo.
So that means if you play for Kaiser University, you have a chance to be on the New England Patriots.
Can you imagine having a meeting with Bill Belichick, and he tells you, he says, listen, I've been watching you since high school. I say, what? What? You serious?
What?
He has the all-seeing eye? Like, what are you, Thanos or something, man?
Well, the interview was great. I really do appreciate JuJu giving us his time and his info and all that on Kyle. I really do appreciate it. Now we got to get into our Wednesday special, which is our EAC headlines. And Marcus Mack, give us headline number 1.
All right, headline number 1, we're going into Brett Favre says he thinks Aaron Rodgers won't finish his career with Packers. He feels like Aaron Rodgers is going to be going down the same career path as him. How you feel about that?
I mean, I think that the Green Bay Packers basically told Aaron Rodgers, this isn't your team anymore. By drafting a quarterback in the position you drafted, and by drafting a running back in the position you drafted, not drafting that one wide receiver to give Devontae Adams some help when you are literally one game away from going to the Super Bowl with the roster that you have right now, basically tells me, hey, Aaron, you know what? We're in charge. You're not, which is totally understandable because they are. But the writing is on the wall that they're basically trying to push their star quarterback out of the way. To me, it doesn't make any sense because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, you might end up in a situation like the Chicago Bulls when they were sitting there trying to get rid of Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson, and they had Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan said, I ain't playing unless this guy's my coach. And then everybody just left. Dennis Rodman left. Michael Jordan left. Phil Jackson left. Scottie Pippen bounced. And the Bulls were just literally just Tony Kukoc was there, and that's it. So you might put yourself in a position where Aaron Rodgers could sit there and tell the organization, hey, look, not for nothing, maybe I play this year. Maybe this is my last year in Green Bay. Without a doubt, there is 20 teams in the league will drop everything to pick Aaron Rodgers. It won't be a Cam Newton or a Jameis Winston situation where these guys are sitting around waiting. Definitely. They're going to go get Aaron Rodgers.
Definitely a Tom Brady situation.
Oh, yeah, without question, it'll be a Tom Brady. See, Tom Brady had a choice of where he wanted to go. He could have chose Indianapolis. He could have chose L.A. Chargers. He could have chose the San Francisco 49ers. He could have chose back to New England. He could have went to Tampa. He had multiple places he could have went. Aaron Rodgers on the free market, literally like, who's coming to get me? And there'll be plenty of people with their hands up.
And I could guarantee you the fans would be at the edge of their seats waiting to see where he's going.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, not for nothing, Aaron Rodgers is probably one of the best quarterbacks of all time, arguably. But to me, it's just the organization is a smart organization when it comes to picking quarterbacks. I think you could have just waited an extra year or two and just found another quarterback to transition because Green Bay does a great job of picking franchise quarterbacks. That they get credit for. I just think that they did it at the wrong time. And for Brett Favre to have this conversation with Aaron, with the relationship that he has with Aaron, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. So when Brett Favre says what he says, that's Aaron talking through Brett Favre.
Take that as gospel. Definitely.
Yeah, of course. That's Aaron talking through Brett Favre. So when they ask him, do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to finish career in Green Bay, which Aaron Rodgers has already stated that he wanted to do this, now you make this pick, and Aaron all of a sudden has a change of heart. Let's get into EAC headline number 2, Marcus Mack.
The next headline, we're going into basketball. Dream Team architect Rob Thorne. Michael Jordan never discusses Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas, he's still kind of upset for being left out of the Dream Team, and recently said he would have been more disappointed if Michael Jordan helped influence his omission from the roster.
Marcus Mack, look at my face.
I see.
Really?
Really?
Isaiah Thomas? Really? Like, seriously? You worried about the Dream Team now? Like, we're talking about 1992. We're in 2020. How many years did you have to be able to speak on something like this? And now this documentary comes out, and you want your 15 seconds of fame to be able to address something that happened so many years ago.
You know what? I feel like now more than any other time, he would have a time to defend himself. Well, now and when it occurred. And all the time in the middle was almost like, okay, you're kicking a dead horse here. But now
Marcus,
the documentary came out, it's like, okay, now everybody's seeing this, and they want to know, well, what about Isaiah Thomas? And now this is his opportunity to say something.
Listen to me. I just want to know, who should he have played over? There's only one person. One. And we're talking about the guy that led the world in assists, the guy that's one of the best point guards to ever live, John Stockton, who played with Karl Malone. There is no other person that Isaiah Thomas could have replaced on that roster because every other player on that roster deserved to be there. The only arguable point is John Stockton. And even if you chose John Stockton over Isaiah Thomas, I don't even have a problem with that.
Yeah.
So he needs to cut the side. Now, if you're Dominique Wilkins, that's a different story. Dominique Wilkins can sit there and be like, and he can start. But you never hear Dominique say anything. Dominique stays quiet because Dominique wasn't on that 92 Olympic team. And he's never said a peep. He's never said a word. But Isaiah constantly keeps bringing this up because he's bitter that, you know what, something else that he did possibly led to this happening.
And I think that's really what it is, that he's bitter. And for all of this time to pass by, and then now, you know, they had this documentary out, so many people watching it, there's questions being asked, and it's burning him so much. He said, you know what, I want to say something now. He wouldn't have said something then because there was an answer to his question. There was an answer. Yeah. Who are you going to play over? You
right.
know?
Isaiah, stop. Stop being bitter. Go back into your little shell.
Back then, you know?
Yeah.
So now he can talk up and he can say something because it's like, let it go.
Leave it alone. Let the documentary live. We don't want to be about Isaiah Thomas right now. Get out of here with that. So let's go to the EAC headlines, topic number 3.
Okay, Jameis Winston. Drew Brees has already been there for me. So Jameis Winston has proudly boasted for years that he was the first kid to get an autograph from Drew Brees. So tell me more about this story, because you was the one that brought this story to my attention.
So Jameis Winston is the first NFL quarterback to lead the league in passing one year and the next year become a backup. Jameis Winston was probably on path, if he didn't throw 30 interceptions last year, to make over $30 million. Jameis Winston is going to make $1.1 million as a backup for the New Orleans Saints. This is the most piece of humble pie I've ever seen eaten in my life. And Jameis Winston, I applaud you for doing it because you are going to a great organization that knows how to develop quarterbacks. So I salute you 100%. You are taking a massive, massive pay cut, showing people it's not all about money. It's more about learning from the right people and putting yourself in the right situation. I hope and I pray that Jameis Winston comes out better for this and next year ends up being a starting quarterback in the league because he fully and utterly deserved it.
I believe
Jameis is literally taking the reserve role as to where Cam is still out there trying to make sure he gets a starting position. Cam is like, man, F that. I'll wait. I don't care. I'm not being anybody's backup. I'm a starting quarterback in this league, and it is what it is.
Yeah, that's actually what I was about to say. I believe that's like a very humble way to kind of just, you know, to go about it.
Marcus, pauses. Emergency. Marcus Mack, let's do EAC headline number 4, topic number 4.
All right, so number 4, the last topic. You see, Eminem, he donated some $20,000 very rare Jordan 4s. He said he just had them laying around, and you know, for COVID-19, he figured, you know, he'll donate them to somebody, and that's what he did. $20,000 Jordan 4s.
There are collaborations between Carhartt and Eminem and Jordan. So basically, it's a Carhartt, Eminem, Jordan collaboration. They're very, very rare. I mean, I think the insane numbers between $20,000 and $28,000 for these Jordans. Jordans are fly, like literally. There's no joke. Matter of fact, Marcus Mack, do me a favor. When we're done with the show, take a picture of that rare Jordan and put it up on the EAC Kicks page. And for you guys that want to check it out, you can check out EAC Kicks. That is a page that we have on Instagram that you could just, you know, it's a sneaker lover thing. It's basically all types of sneakers that we have on it that we really like.
For all my sneaker enthusiasts, we do more than just regular sneakers. We do the sneaker collaborations. We do the cleats. We do everything. Check that out.
I can't wait till sports gets back so we can launch EAC bets because it's going to be ridiculous.
I think the only thing anybody could bet on right now at this point is maybe horse racing.
Because you know I'm an animal. I'm an animal when it comes to that.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man, those sneakers, there was only 10 of them made. There's only 10 of them made. So, you know, giving that out, whoever gets them, I hope a sneakerhead gets them. Because if a sneakerhead gets them, they're gonna keep them. But anyway,
and it's going to a great cause. It's going to COVID-19 relief fund stuff. So shout out to Eminem for doing that. So this is going to end our episode 34. Once again, we really do appreciate Julius, JuJu, Phillips coming on and talking a little bit about Kyle Duggar, the New England Patriots second-round pick. Thank you once again. We appreciate that. Hopefully we reach out to JuJu sometime in the future. Marcus Mack, I appreciate you. This is going to conclude episode 34. Make sure you check out episode 35 on all podcast platforms. Click, like, subscribe, comment on YouTube. We appreciate the interaction on social media. We love it. We respond as quickly as possible. We'll check you out episode 35. Appreciate it, guys.
Peace.
Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC show.